Something really weird and wonderful happens when we fall in love. Our bodies respond by pumping out a great deal of feel-good hormones. When we walk hand in hand or talk to our lover on the phone, we get this rush of dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin. Our pleasure centers are activated and we feel this special bond or a deep connection with that someone we've fallen in love with. And when the time comes and we finally get busy, that cocktail of emotions and that cocktail of hormones explodes all throughout our body like fireworks. Love is the one gift given to us by the gods. The only gift, if you ask me. But when you finally come down from that high and experience heartbreak and disappointment, all that love can diminish into hateful and even abusive relationships. Such was the case with Louis and Lestat in AMC's hit series Interview with a Vampire. And we're going to talk about that in this video, so please stay tuned. Now, in other videos, I touched on how victims of narcissistic abuse become emotionally unregulated. In most cases, a victim of abuse, they just lose their heads. They don't know right from wrong, up from down, so on and so forth. However, empaths tend to have a strong connection to narcissists for one particular reason. They love getting high. Now, I'm not talking about recreational drugs or having one wild night out of binge drinking. I'm talking about how empaths love to love. They love that rush of excitement that they get when the body emits this rush of hormones that sends them over the moon. Sadly, many empaths operate much like drug addicts. They are constantly looking for that next high, and they are ready and willing to go on an all-night binge, despite the fact that they may have to suffer a headache or heartache afterwards. Let me explain. The best way to think about an empath is to watch the movie The Green Mile. Oldie but goodie. There's a character named John Coffey. He is this gigantic black man accused of murdering two precious little girls. And as a result of that, he is sentenced to death. Coffey has to wait out his last days on death row, only to walk down the hallway that is called the Green Mile. Walking the mile on his day of execution. Now, there are many critics who accuse John Coffey as being the magical Negro. He seemed to exist solely to take away white people's pain. However, I don't agree with the critics. I think that John Coffey was more of a shaman. That magical fairy dust that he was inhaling and exhaling was the energy that shamans and empaths can take from other people, especially when they're healing them. John Coffey's execution was all about how we have betrayed our very own nature. And we've betrayed our nature by destroying the most magical aspects of it. Anywho, John Coffey is a great example of a shaman/empath who was able to feel other people's pain. And because he could feel other people's pain, he felt this deep sense of dread and regret when he truly couldn't help other people. And that's really the driving force of an empath, guilt. We feel guilty when we let people down. We feel guilty when we disappoint people. We feel guilty when we put our own needs ahead of others. However, there is another driving force that causes the empath to be an empath. And that force causes us to be magnets to narcissists. What is it? Well, that is love, my friends. The empath is like a hound dog sniffing out love. We are looking to feel that rush of excitement, that cocktail of hormones that comes with being with that very special person. For an empath, the quest for love is almost like an addict chasing his very first high. It's euphoric and it sits in the brain for an eternity, longing to be dethroned by another, more exhilarating experience. The empath accepts the fact that when they come down from their high, they are going to hit the ground hard. But sadly, that part doesn't matter to the empath. All he or she cares about is the next high, how great it's going to be, how amazing it's going to feel when those hormones start pumping through those veins again. This tends to be the pattern with codependents who support addicts. They actually get a jolt of energy by being an enabler. And since empaths feel more deeply and strongly, they can experience an intoxication that is 10 times greater than an addict's high. They feel this natural intoxication that comes with being in love. And since empaths feel much more deeply, they can experience a level of intoxication that is 10 times greater than the actual addict's high. They feel that natural intoxication that comes with being in love or comes with loving someone. Now, over time, the empath understands that they are giving away far too much. In fact, they are enabling their partner to their own detriment. They are taking on way too much energy from their partner, and soon it starts to weigh them down. Then the feelings of euphoria get few and far between, and those moments of pure elation become distant memories. The empath weakens without love, and there is a deep and dark part of him that wants to leave the relationship, yet he can't. Why? Because the narcissist needs him. The narcissist needs the empath to carry his negative energy, to carry his trauma, to carry his pain. Notice in an interview with the vampire, Lestat never felt remorse. He never felt guilt. He never felt shame. Louis, on the other hand, felt all these emotions for both of them. So Lestat could go out and kill and not think twice about it. But if Louis killed, he would probably have nightmares for days. Lestat continued to transfer negative energy to both Claudia and Louis through ridicule and abuse. After a while, empaths don't just become emotional punching bags. They become, sadly, human receptacles. They become the proverbial trash bins for the narcissist to dump all of their baggage into. The weight becomes too heavy, causing the empath to do anything to escape the narcissist's belittling and wrath. So how can the empath escape this toxic cycle? Well, for one, they have to free themselves from the narcissist. They will never get a good grasp on their emotions if the narcissist is still in the picture. Then they have to learn how to be responsible for their own happiness. Yes, the empaths have to learn how to find or create their own joy. I know, it sounds like a bunch of fluff, but even scientists agree that the brain can't tell the difference from an experience that's real from one that's imagined. So what does all this mean? It means that you can create those amazing feelings of love all within yourself. That's the beauty of being an empath. Love doesn't have to be something outside of you that you long for. It can be something that you can intrinsically create.